What's up, guys? It's Chachi Power here for CollectionDX. I'm here to do a review for the number 1005 MSZ-006A1 C1 Boost Z+ Red Edition. Try and say that 3 times fast. After messing with this for a while, it's quite possible to make a 2-hour review. But what I'm going to do, so I don't bore you guys to death, is just show you what's going on. Try and keep it short and sweet, and let's just have fun with it. What you're seeing here is the front of the box, which is quite huge. This is my hand, which is huge in itself. This is the back. It shows all the different variations of transformation for the Gundam. You got the Zplus A1 here. You have the Zplus A1 Wave Rider. You have the Zplus C1 Wave Rider. The Zplus C1 Boost. The Zplus C1. And the Zplus C1 Boost Wave Rider. So we're going to take a look at each of these. Now, when you initially open the box, it's greeted with a huge stack of trays. Inside you got a little baggie full of some paperwork. You got the instructions on transformation here. Yeah, it's nice full color photography. All the different variations of the transformation. Got all the part lists here. Inside the bag, we got some more goodies. We have a poster fold out here of the Zplus Red and the Zplus Blue on this side. For the little warning stickers, as if there isn't enough already. And that would be this little sticker sheet here. Alright guys, here's the Zplus A1, which is pretty much the robot the way it comes out of the box. I've attached the, the guns, the shields, stuff like that. Little things you just add on. But right out of the box, this is very impressive. The feel is top notch. I love the matte finish. You can obviously tell Bandai spends a lot of money on Gundam. There's a lot of sharp detail. Something I'm not really used to when reviewing robots. It's got loads of tampo markings, which are really sharp. The figure is solid here and there. Some parts are floppy. You see this here? This wasn't actually like that when I first got it. During part of the transformation, this gets switched to another part, and apparently the ball joints are bigger on the other part. The only other kind of looseness I found was just a little bit in the feet. This foot seems to be really nice and solid, but here a little looser than the other. Now there's a lot of moving parts on this figure. I want to go over the articulation a bit. You have the fins up here. They actually close in for transformation. The head, which is on a ball joint. You got little flaps here. You got these things. Basically anything you touch moves. These panels here are on ball joints. The feet. Got more panels back here. You got the wings. They move back and forth. This goes up. This moves. You got the panels here. You got little panels on the arms. You have, let's take this off for a sec. You have the arm, which is on a tab that's held down with friction there. You have ratchets here. You have top of the arm here swivels around. You got the elbow. It's not double jointed, so it doesn't go further than that. And you have the wrists, and these fists are on ball joints. And the knees swivel. The legs can move up like this, a certain amount. They're on ball joints, so there's no ratcheting. But the knees, they do ratchet, and they actually fold a good amount. So you're able to achieve some nice, flying poses there. Pretty cool is how they got these little hoses back there. I think that's a nice detail. You can kind of see the frame, which is die cast. It's got a nice like a black chrome looking type of metal there. Most of the metal is hidden. That's about it for the bare metal. There's a lot of metal, you know, on the arm here, which is just painted. Some metal in here, very hard to see. There's metal here on the feet. So there's bits and pieces here of, you know, of metal. I like the fact that the hips are very sturdy. The ball joint is not loose at all. I got him here with the beam gun, which is actually pretty detailed. It's also got tampo markings, paint details here. You know, it's got a lot of little moving parts. This right here in the back. I've got the closed fist attached on his left arm. I got this gun holding hand here. He's got another gun holding hand for the left side. Actually, the one I just showed you, this has kind of an angle here. The angle helps with holding of the gun. You can check out the angle on that. The standard hand. And it's got another closed fist for the other hand. I wanted to point out that on these little pieces here that pop off, he's actually got little sabers. If I can just pull this out here, and you just attach the actual beam on it, and you got yourself a nice little blue saber. What's cool is that on the gun you can pull this little piece out, and you can actually hinge the gun to the back here, like so. Now the Zplus C1, it's actually a pretty easy mode to get into. All you really do is change the gun for this ridiculously long cannon. Now so far we've seen that it's a pretty cool figure. There's a lot more to it than we've seen so far. We're going to go ahead and transform him into the Zplus A1 Wave Rider. Now at this point we're pretty much done with the A1 Wave Rider. Don't forget to pull these little fins out. You might need a little X-Acto knife or pin to pull these out. Now it's not the most solid thing on the planet, but I mean it holds its shape, except for the gun falling off. I have trouble lining these up sometimes because this one's kind of floppy. But there is a ratchet, which helps. Leaving it in this mode is not going to do much. It's not going to really sit well, as you can see. But there is a nice little stand, which you just have to put together, you know, using a couple pieces. The stand has these little hooks here, which go right underneath that piece, and it lays on this little cup here. The stand holds this mode really well. I can spin it around without fear of it dropping. Now, if you don't want to display in flight mode, it has optional parts for landing gear. So these little pieces here. It's got this piece, which is basically a replacement crotch piece, and it's got this, you know, this other landing gear assortment. Now while I was pulling these out, I realized they're actually die cast. I don't know if you can hear that. It sounds like coin. Now to use the landing gear, it's pretty simple. You want to pop this piece off, replace it with this one, slides right in. Got that piece there. So what you want to carefully do is move the wing a little and pop. Oh, there you go. Pop that little panel off. Lost it somewhere probably. And then this one. Then what you do is grab the proper landing gear, which I believe goes this way, and you want to just put it in the slot there. Grab the other side, do the same thing. It's not really hard. Just have to be careful with the little pieces. And now same thing goes for the top. I've already popped this panel off prior to showing you guys. Same thing with this. It's just going to go right in. And now you've got proper landing gear. The only problem is it will not stand on this landing gear. It's very rear heavy. The way Bandai has worked around that is to supply you with these very ugly blocks to stand it on. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to put that on. Take that off. One piece goes on the right side. One piece goes on the left side. Once you get that situated, just squeeze it together. Pop this piece back on. And what that does is all the weight basically rests on this piece so that you're able to stand it up like so. Now while we're in this mode, I'm going to show you guys the C1 Wave Rider. I've removed all the landing gear except this one. Okay, and what you're basically going to do is take off this piece and replace it with the one that has the huge cannon. Goes on the same way as the other one. There's a little tab here that goes right into this bottom hole down here. You want to just carefully line that up, snap it in, then pressure fit the top. Then those panels I was talking about, we pulled out the little ones. You want to pull out the larger part of it, which is this here. You want to do that on both sides. And what you do once you get that off, you replace it with these cylindrical pieces. I'm sorry for all you Gundam fans, I'm not sure what this is called, but this comes with replacement panels. And these pieces here, what you want to do is snap that on. Do the same for the other side. And what's cool is it also has a tambo printing, so it lines up and looks correct on the wing. Now the deeper I get into modes here, the harder it is to find a spot to grab it from, you know, and keep everything all even and tidy. But if you got this block on, realize it's a good place to hold it. Pretty sturdy like that. If you didn't notice already, this cannon is really long. We're going to change this tail out for this one, which has the boosters on the side, and you're going to snap it into the same exact spot that one was in, like so. Now when you go to put it on the stand, you're going to want to make sure this is folded correctly. Push it up, then bend it. And then the stand, the part I just showed you has a little sled on it. It lays there. This top part here hooks to the front. Lay the sled and just carefully place it down. Now to keep it stable on the stand, you want to make sure the sled back here, little sled piece, is correctly situated on the stand piece here. Otherwise it's going to fall off very easily and you don't want that. Now if you don't want to use a stand, there's a way you can display it without it. You can see this has a little ski here. There's none else here, but it's missing the ones up front. Now to use those, you want to pop off these panels. They pop right off very nicely. And then you want to grab the little skis here. These are actually die cast, which I think is pretty cool. And there's these little holes, they just tab right in. Just push them in a bit. Do the same thing for the other side. And the very last ski goes right up front here. Even though you have these situated very well, they just fall right out if you try and, you know, put a lot of weight on it. So again, there is the usage of this ugly block back here. What we want to do is now put a spacer on it. Should slide right in. And this is what we got when you're done. A couple of you guys might be wondering how some of these pieces are held on. If you're familiar with Gundam stuff, you're familiar with poly caps. So a lot of parts have poly caps. You know, ball joints and stuff like that. So anyways, let's move on to the next mode. And this is where things start getting really fun. Next, we're going to do the Zplus C1 boost, which requires the use of additional parts, which is these parts here. I want to show you guys what this stuff does in a second. Got these nice big boosters. Excellent paint application. I didn't tell you guys before, but there is a nice two-tone of red here. It's very subtle. I don't know if it'll come out on camera very well, but it's very nice. Same thing. Nice tampo printing. Very sharp molding on everything. Lots of attention to detail. A little bit of die cast there, not much. We also got these booster packs here. Aside from these other ones here, so it's a lot of stuff we're going to be attaching. So it's going to get really interesting. So we're just going to go ahead and get that started now. First thing you want to do is get him back into robot mode. So let's do that. Now, one thing, guys, you don't necessarily have to put him in robot mode since you're going to be removing part of him anyway. Now you'll see during the transformation sometimes parts disappear and reappear because through editing, but you know, you don't have to leave these parts on during transformation. I choose to take them off to make things a bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and let's continue. Like I said, this bottom half is going to come out and it's going to get replaced. And it's going to get replaced with this bad boy right here. We got the basic C1 boost here. As you can see, it's a big, chunky figure. It's still somewhat solid, except here, doesn't really hold the weight well. But it's understandable. It's pretty heavy. But other than that, everything is pretty much solid. Now, one of the few things I have left to do is put these on. Save these for last, because like I said, these ball joints get enlarged when using this here. They're a little bit harder to snap on. Now once they're on this mode, you'll see they're a lot stiffer. Except for the side to side, which is pivoting there. But movement this way, very solid. Very tight. Now the actually one of the last pieces to complete this colossal Gundam is this huge, I guess these are fuel tanks. And you see here, there's a notch here, which goes right on the crotch. I notice I mention crotch a lot in my reviews, but I can't help it. A lot of these robots have crotches, and things happen on their crotches. So, pardon me. Put that piece back on that fell. Another crotch piece, crotch protector. And here you are. He's actually very overwhelming looking. There's a lot of detail going on here. Not used to this, like I said. I'm not a big Gundam fan, but I'm all over this right now. This is really cool. Easy to hold from his crotch tanks. Now, you obviously can't stand them like this. I mean, you can't. I mean, if you take the crotch pieces off, you can, but he's going to be standing on boosters. So he's not meant to walk around like this. He's meant to float around in space. So once again, there is a stand to allow you to display. Now, same thing. Use the same stand. Each mode has a different piece to attach. For the mode I'm showing you now, you want to attach this, which has the ratchety arm. Slide that in, like so. Lift up the tail. You're going to see a little hole up here. Stand goes right in. Lays at a nice angle there. You can bring that back down. Now you're able to display him quite nicely as it is. He's got his legs splayed out. Now what Bandai did for this base is that they included a section that attaches to the sides here, which keeps the legs splayed out. Even though the figure has no problems holding his legs out, I'm going to show you the stand anyway. You see there's a little square piece here. You grab these pieces here, attach them to the side. Once again, same thing, put it right in his back. Now when we come around to the front, you basically want to get this peg to line up to this hole here. I made the unfortunate mistake of not making sure the leg was extended, but it's not really a big deal. But yeah, this leg has to be extended out. If it isn't already, it's very simple. You pull these levers down. Helps to have nails. And next what you want to do is pull this down and then close these back up. I'm going to do the same thing on the other leg. Now that we have the figure properly sorted out, you can now line up the hole with the tab. Doesn't really press in or anything, but it's just meant to keep the legs splayed. The end result is quite breathtaking. Like I said, not being a big Gundam fan, not very easily amused by Gundam stuff, but I mean, this is incredible. My only previous experience with Gundams were those cheap little 1/44 scale figures, so to go from that to this is very overwhelming. I don't know what kind of paint they use, but it's got a nice matte finish. It doesn't scratch easily. In fact, I've yet to scratch it with the amount of transformation I did and all the practice I did before showing you guys this review. I even had an X-Acto knife scrape against the paint by mistake and nothing. It's a really good paint. So overall, this is a very high quality figure. And the best part of it is I'm not even done showing you guys everything this can do. There's still one more mode. So let's get started on the C1 Boost Wave Rider. Stands is that they're actually keyed right here, this hole. So if you go to put this piece in backwards, doesn't really want to go in. So you flip it around and you'll see that there's a notch here that's keyed perfectly with that piece and just slides right in. Voila. Now here's a completed Zplus C1 Boost Wave Rider. Little Iron Man here for comparison. This thing's pretty huge. Kind of having trouble keeping it in the camera view here. The molding is sharp. The tampo printing it's very sharp. There's a lot of pieces I've rubbed up against each other. The paint does not even scuff. I don't know what this paint's made out of, but it's pretty cool. Like I said, the detail is amazing. I love the stand. Makes it look real legit, you know, on display. I've opted not to put all those little warning stickers on, and as you can tell, it doesn't really need it. It's pretty detailed as it is. Somewhat sturdy on this stand. You know, I wouldn't go waving it around. This is more for display. Try and show you guys the underneath, sort of how this stand lays on that. I wouldn't consider myself a big avid Gundam fan, but this is I like it. I like it. I really don't know what else I can say. So overall, I think this is a very solid release. So if you like what you see, you can go check it out at HLJ.com. They got it on sale right now. They were kind enough to send this over for review, so you guys can check it out, see if you like it or not. So go on over to the site and check it out. This brings me to the end of the review. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the full review with photos on CollectionDX.com, and I'll be back soon with some other stuff to check out. Till then, take care.